This is the RV Advisor Podcast with your host, Tom Alexander. Get all the latest information, trends, advice from experts, stories from the road, and more in the world of recreational vehicles. Now, here's Tom.
Welcome to the RV Advisor Podcast. My name is Tom Alexander, and today I am joined by Paul Unmack. He's an entrepreneur, an inventor, engineer, manufacturer, and all-around RV enthusiast. Hey, Paul, welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, we're excited to have you and chat a little bit about everything you do, and you're calling us from the great state of Montana. How's everything out in Big Sky Country today?
Well, it's a little bit chilly, but we're used to that.
Yeah, I would think you are. It's winter comes early in the northern part of the country, I guess.
But traditionally, yes.
Yeah. Boy, you wear a lot of hats, that's for sure. I mean, you're an engineer by trade, but you've also you've invented things. You've got a U.S. patent, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. What is that? What is that for specifically?
It's for absorption refrigeration. The name of the patent is absorption refrigeration protective control.
And what does that do exactly?
Well, we came to find that there's a failure mode for RV refrigerators, and that failure mode, the root cause is the boiler overheating. Mm-hmm. So basically the patent is to control the boiler temperature.
I see. And this must have taken some time to develop. And I mean, when you invent something like this, tell me, because I really have no clue, and probably a lot of our listeners are unfamiliar with this as well, but do you have to go through a lot of different trial and errors, or is it all kind of worked out ahead and you say, yeah, this is going to work. We know it'll work because we've done all the math. How does something like that work?
Well, in my case, necessity was the mother of invention. After having a failure of my own refrigerator, I decided that I would see if I could find the root cause of the problem. So it was a long process in the sense that I had to instrument the refrigerator, and then I had to move on to find out if what I had done was patentable. So it was actually quite a long process. Mm-hmm. Once the patent was granted, I had to design something that was marketable.
Yeah, and so you design something that's marketable, and you've got the patent process itself has to take a while, right?
Yeah, it took me something like 6 years to go through the prosecution phase of the patent, which is the phase where a patent attorney, basically, that works for the PTO, mm-hmm. is looking at what you're trying to patent.
Now, I know the patent office is in Washington, D.C. Did you yourself have to go to Washington to do this?
No, I did this all online and some over the telephone.
I see. So you've got the patent now, and here you go. Now it's time to manufacture this thing for the masses, so to speak, or the RV owners who have these kinds of refrigerators that are kind of almost have a built-in failure. Tell us the next step. I mean, what went on after the patent was obtained, and then you're in the position of making more of these things. Well,
I had to, as you said, put on a lot of different hats. I had to try to learn to become a marketer, and that's a daily task for me because it doesn't come natural.
Right.
And we also, like any other product that hits the market, we refine the product based on customer feedback.
It's funny, those kinds of things are any product like that. We all know the phrase new and improved, right? And I think a lot of the new and improved things come from feedback from customers, no matter whether it's a product you use at home, or maybe even everything from a cough drop to a whatever it is. It's always something, trying to get better. So you in turn then had this product and then listened to the feedback. Where is it today? Tell us a little bit about the current stage of this product. And what is it? Does it have a marketed name specifically?
Well, the marketing name, the brand is Fridge Defend,
mm-hmm.
Because it protects the refrigerator.
Right. Great.
It actually took me years to even, when I talk about marketing, it took me years to realize that other people have brand names And finally, one of my customers said that I refused to travel without my fridge defended. And bingo, I had a brand name.
There you go. Wow. The old FD. That's great. That's great. Fridge Defend. And so now these folks can get the Fridge Defend. It protects the refrigerator on the road, longer life, happier people, happier customers, and hopefully richer Paul, right? Does it work that way?
Well, we're working on the rich part.
Yeah.
We're put in a position where we have to remain humble.
Yeah.
I'd like to add that one of the driving forces for me to come to the realization that these refrigerators can be protected is that we own 2 refrigerators that were made in 1937 that are absorption type refrigerators, and they operate to this day. So
wow.
The absorption type refrigerator is extremely reliable given that the boiler doesn't overheat.
Now, are these sort of universal in a sense that it's not brand specific? In other words, it'll work with almost any kind of refrigerator that you would find for an RV?
Well, let's clarify that a little.
Yeah.
There are 2 types of refrigerators in RVs now. One is an absorption type refrigerator, and the other is a residential type refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of RVers, out of frustration, have gone to the residential type refrigerator because they don't have the issues that the absorption fridge have. For example, an absorption fridge cannot be operated off level. In addition, the absorption refrigerator, when they are operated off level, they can fail, and quite often a fire is the result of the failure, which our product basically is a fire prevention product.
So besides the extending the life of the refrigerator, we're also talking about a major league safety issue here too.
Yes, there's been quite a bit of press on the failures of these refrigerators that have caused major fires. The manufacturers of the absorption type refrigerators in around 2002 started issuing recalls based on the fire problems. But unfortunately, the recalls were retroactive as opposed to our product being proactive.
Are you seeing now that there are less recalls, not less recalls, but less incidents, let's say, that are occurring due to your product kind of, augmenting these refrigerators and how's the feedback been?
Well, the feedback has been beautiful. We have had no incidents of any hazards where anyone's using our product, and we couldn't be happier with the position we're in because our customers are so happy with our product.
We're speaking with Paul Unmack. He's an entrepreneur, he's an inventor, an engineer, and a marketing guy, as we've just learned. He's had to learn how to market, and as you said, that's not the easiest thing in the world, Paul. I know, I can vouch for that. It's always a challenge because they're always moving the goal line. It's just so many different ways to go into a marketing approach, and there's no real science. Although people would like to tell you there's a science to it, a lot of times it's luck of the draw. It's just who you connect with and how it's perceived by the consumer. Tell us a little bit about things you've seen. Let's say outside of the invention you have, the refrigerator, the Fridge Defend. Other things that come up with safety. Let's say that you've looked at yourself, and just things that's like, hey, you know what? I'd like to address this, or this is next on the list.
Well, we actually have a number of customers that have approached us about products that they want to patent, mm-hmm. and so on. And we have consulted with a few people. But, we go out and we install our product for people when we go to rallies and, for instance, to the Mecca quartzite to address one of the concerns that I heard you mention is that what do we see in RVs that we would like changed? Well, we deal with wiring, and the wiring in RVs a lot of times we're not very pleased with. Now, I need to qualify that because I taught automotive instrumentation and control and wiring to technicians in the field, so I'm pretty much a purist when it comes to looking at wiring and seeing problems with it that can cause issues for the end user.
So you see something, you identify something first, you look at it and you say, okay, this needs to be addressed. What's next?
If it's a problem that I can solve in the field, like when I'm installing my product, I will try and fix it. For instance, tying a wire down so that it's not vibrating. Mm-hmm. I believe that's what the nature of your question was.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say I'm a new RV, or I'm thinking about getting an RV, and I want to learn more about some of this stuff. Where do I go to find out what you're doing and how I can maybe reach out and learn a little bit more from you?
Well, we have a website, www.arprv.com, mm-hmm. and we've devoted a lot of the website to problem solving. So, for example, getting back to your question about what we see in the field frequently is that the refrigerators actually have a filter on the LP system, and that filter can get plugged with oil, and it's fairly easy to clean. In addition, many RV techs are not aware of it, so what they do is they replace the refrigerator rather than clean the filter.
Yeah.
So you can go to our website and see how to perform that procedure.
Well, that's great. And again, it's www.arp, that's A-R-P, right? RV?
That's correct.
.com, right.
Yeah.
And right there you can connect with Paul Unmack, and they, kind of give you an idea of any kinds of questions you have, I guess, about safety and refrigeration, Fridge Defend, among other things. It's all right there for you, and you get a lot of questions. Now, I know that you and I chatted a few minutes ahead of time, and you'd mentioned that you have been RVing since you were probably before you could speak, right?
My first year of life, I went to Baja, California.
Wow. Okay. So you know what it's like going from here to there in an RV. You live in Montana, and but you're on the road, I'm sure, a few times a year, and you connect up with folks like yourself, RV enthusiasts.
That's correct. We actually live out of our RV for 6 months out of the year.
Do you? Wow. Okay. So is that during the warmer months, or is it more in the winter, or what, or does it vary?
Well, we stay in Southern California. We actually winter about a mile from the U.S.-Mexico border.
Oh, okay. So you're pretty smart then. You stay out of the the frozen tundra, if you will.
I went from being an avid skier to being an avid snowbird.
Gotcha. Well, that's I think as we age, I think that tends to be more common than not. I moved to South Florida 23 years ago and have never looked back. I do like summers up north, but believe me, at wintertime, this is the only place I want to be. So I can certainly understand that. What's next for you? Do you have any major things on the horizon that you're looking to build? Is there some sort of a dream invention or something that you want to patent and say, hey, you know what? Check this out. This is really going to help you.
Well, we're very much passionate about improving safety of RVs. We enjoy our new occupation, going from control systems engineering to dealing with people day in and day out and helping them solve their problems.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful, and thank you for what you're doing for all the. I think on behalf of all the RV owners and enthusiasts, I could certainly say that what you do is great and helpful, and we can all use that service. And again, it's ARPRV.com, and that's where you want to go to learn more about everything Paul does and what's available and questions you might have. That's where you want to go. Paul, thank you so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
This is the RV Advisor Podcast. My name is Tom Alexander. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the RV Advisor Podcast with Tom Alexander. This podcast is produced in association with Studio Alpha and Alexander Productions in Miami. Visit thervadvisor.com for more.